Thank you very much. I am Pastor Ratani Violet Liremi. I'm pastoring presently at Amazing Grace Assembly in Madombija, Zone 2. When we speak about the old man, we refer to him as a soldier of the cross. Because I'm saying that because he fought a good fight of faith up to date. So we saw him as a very passionate member of this assembly. So may his soul rest in peace, because really he was a committed member. You know, when we say somebody is committed, it's when you see him even during tough times. Yeah, I saw the old man during COVID. You know, COVID was that time when people were fearful, people were not coming to church, you know. But to this old man, we saw commitment. Though COVID was so high, he was there every Sunday. So that's why I say we are really proud and grateful of this old man, because truly he was a committed member. He was also very loyal. You know that in church we've got offerings, we've got tithe. Yes. You know, it's the dues of the church. Yes. So he was a faithful member. He paid his dues, and chiefly so, because when he wasn't around here, he used to give maybe some members his envelopes and, you know, all the dues that are needed at the church. Yes. So that's why I say the old man was very loyal. Yes. To Amazing Grace Assembly. Yes. So one other thing that amazed me as a pastor, his firstborn daughter is the same age as my age, but he was humble. Wow. He was humble. I saw him under my leadership, being very humble, being very respectful. Yes. So he was really an amazing old man. He was also a very loving person. A very loving person. And as some other speakers have already said, he could cope with every age. Yes. Teenagers, you know, the little ones, yes. Men and women in the church, yes. Grannies in the church. He could mingle very, very, very easy. Yeah, very easy. So I think we will really miss this old man, because he was a staunch member, dedicated, and very disciplined. Yes. He was a man of ethics. Yes. You know, he was a man of ethics, and you could respect the old man. The old man. Yeah, yeah. We really enjoyed his stay up to date in Amazing Grace Assembly. Yeah. Yes, I have beautiful memories about the old man, because, you know, he used to encourage me as a lady pastor. You know, lady pastors, sometimes we meet some problems in our leadership. But, you know, he encouraged me, stay strong. He used to say, stay strong. You will make it, stay strong. We are behind you. So those are the words that I will remember. Yes. Yeah, he was really an example because he was a loving father. All his kids are educated, so to say. So it's a sign that he was a responsible type of a father. Yeah, so he was a loving father, very respectful. His kids respected him. He loved his wife. Dearly so.
Yes.
Dearly so. Yeah, what I can say is that now, you know what, tough times never last, but tough people do. But I know the Lord will make a way for them. I know the Lord will make a way for them.
Yes.
And I know God will give the family strength.
Yes.
Yeah, God will be just near them,
Yes.
because they are also people who trust in the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, so God will give them new strength. Comrade Joe, as he was affectionately known, he was a man of ethics.
Yes.
Yeah, he lived an exemplary life. He was a man of, I don't know how to put it, but let me say he was faithful in whatever he was doing and very responsible. And I just want to say to our young people, let them copy from what the old man was doing while he was still alive.
Yes.
He was responsible.
Yes.
Because we don't have a lot of responsible young people in our days.
Yes.
But I pray God that in this church, let the legacy of the old men stay. Because they always say, you can take inheritance, but legacy cannot be taken. Yeah, you cannot take legacy from.
The name again, the Ishem Shaisanu Pitambelengwa. I have known Brajo, or if I may call him Mr. Namangani, I would say for over 50 years really. He lived in the neighborhood of my cousins Baumadaje. And of course, we were still youngsters. He was elder, a neat dresser, very smart and very caring. For most of the funerals that we had at the Madajes and all that in the same street, he politely agreed to address, to stand and talk on behalf of the community. By his character was a loving person in terms of the community. He served the community at, not today's people who are doing this. I heard today of others are activists, others are politicians. But I think he was both. Yes, until when he became a councillor, we witnessed his progress in terms of serving people. And of course, really, the lowest moment, it was when he had a tragedy of the house being attacked by false pretense of service, which, again, it was those kind of things that happens to anyone when people want your job or want your position. But I'm pleased that I haven't seen him in a very, very long time. Young as I am, I've relocated to Venda until I heard about his passing on, that he was just next to me. I am in Samko, he's in Ratidiri. And a friend of mine, Matata, said, this is the one who brought me here to say, hang on, I knew you knew him. And I am saying, fare thee well. And aluta continua, and we hope the angels have gained someone whilst we have lost you. But we thank you for the wonderful time and the service that you offer the people. Yes, it's a big loss, really. You're talking about someone whom the family gave to the society. For over 30 years when you're serving the society, surely you miss out on the family life and all that. And we do really send our condolences to the family that you had no choice but to share him with the community. And the community itself, they've lost someone. They've lost and it was an asset. It was not a liability, really. I think Brajo, wherever he is, really, in his dying days, he should have seen the corruption that is going on in the ANC that he loved so much, that surely in his character wouldn't allow him to tolerate that. It's a big loss. Those who really envy him, there's a price to pay. You have to be a selfless person. You have to be service-orientated. You have to have the love for the people. But if you go in there for other reasons, then we have a problem. The people will find out who you are. When you go in there, be ready to be serve the people, and at a legal remuneration, even sometimes no remuneration. It's a calling. I call it a calling, really. So for those who want to follow him, make sure that you understand the calling that is about self. You don't have to be selfish. You have to be selfless. And to the family, yes, we do say we send our condolences once more. You lost a giant, a gentle giant, actually. Rest in peace, Mr. Nemongwane Brajo.
My name is Sylvia Nemongwane. I'm the third born of Mr. Johannes Nemongwane and Mrs. Esther Nemongwane. My father was a caring, very much caring, and he also.
You can go with Chivenda if you like to go with Chivenda. You can take your time.
Okay.
Yes.
I can talk with using my mother tongue,
Yes.
so that I can express myself better.
Yes.
Okay. Kusianga baba mutu wa ufuna vana babo, and then baba mutu wo tutuweza vana babo uri vaichikoloni, and then chifhinga chote namusarari mutu achikolwara ndivone veve vachiri thogomela upfirisa nga maanḓa miyanga ngori kusianga va very much brave and bold in everything. Ndivone veve vavo ritika nga maanḓa ka chimwe na chimwe. My father take us, all of us, we were 8, and he take us equally. And what else?
It's good. How was the father figure?
And then baba chiri supporter in everything chikoloni. Ngachimwe na chimwe ri vhathu ri rava ri sa shayi chithu na chithu na chithihi, and roṱhe ro funzea, ahuna muthu a songo dzhena tshikolo, roṱhe ahuna ne a si vhe na matric, and then ri na qualification all of us, and then nga nḓani ha uri vha dzhenise vhana vhavho tshikolo, and then vha dovha vha dzhenisa na vhaḓulu vhavho. Ya khotsi anga muṅwe na muṅwe ri vha ri tshi khou tama ri tshi nga uri ri nge i vhone, and ri a funa uri ri zwoṱhe zwe vha vha tshi zwi ita ri zwi tovhedzele ngauri ndi vhone vho vha vho thanya, vha vho thanya vha tshi funwa nga muṅwe na muṅwe, and vha tshi laya muṅwe na muṅwe, vha tshi vhudza muṅwe na muṅwe, and vha tshi ri funḓedza na uri ri vhe discipline. And kha vhana vha hashu ahuna na ṅwana na muthihi ane a si vhe discipline. And all of us we are Christians. Okay. Khotsi anga vha vha tshi dzhia vhathu vha nnḓa na riṋe u fana, ho vha sina uri hoyu ndi ṅwana wa nnḓa kana hoyu ndi ṅwana wavho, vhoṱhe vha tshi ri dzhia equally. Ra tshi fana, vha tshi ri funa roṱhe vha nnḓa na vha nga ngomu, and vha ri tshi treata nga maanḓa vhathu vha nnḓa u fhirisa riṋe, vha tshi vha ṋea lufuno, mara roṱhe vha tshi ri funa. Okay, kha ava vhane vha vha vhaṱuku ndi tama vha tshi sedza zwe khotsi anga vha tshilisa zwone, vha dovha hafhu vha sedza na zwine riṋe vhana vha khotsi anga uri ri tshilisa hani, uri na vhone vha tshile unga riṋe, uri na riṋe ri vhe dzi role model dzavho riṋe ro dzhia kha khotsi anga. Especially kha family yashu zwine ndi songa vha hanga khotsi anga ndi nga uri ṱhogomela musi ri tshi lwala. Always arali muthu a tshi khou lwala vha tshi u vhudza zori nduri vha tshi tonga sa doctor, ngori every time now and then vha ḓovha vha tshi khou ḓo u vhudza zori wo dzhia philisi na, u khou nwa philisi na, u khou ita mini. Ndi zwine a ri khou kona u tshila ngazwo ngori ndi vhone vhe vha vha tshi tonga doctor kha riṋe. Arali muthu a tshi khou lwala ndi vhone uno swika, ene vha sa teledzi uri na musi u mufumakadzi vha u ṱambise kana vha u ita mini. Ndi zwone zwine ri khou balelwa u konḓela khavho ngori ha sina muthu ane a nga ri fara zwavhuḓi u fana khotsi yanga. Yeah, what I can say is that ndi funa uri roṱhe sa family ya Nemongwane ri tshi farana sa zwe mukalaha vha tshi ita zwone, vha sa nyagi ri tshilwa, uri na musi vha siwe zwi ḓinga nga ri khotsi anga vha hone ri funane. Ahuna different zwe zwa vha tshi khou zwi ita haningei Joburg na ngeno still vha khou ḓi ita the same thing. is the same.
So he was
Not-
the very same man in Joburg.
In Joburg
the
and-
very same person.
Yes,
in
yeah, no changes at all.
No changes.
Yeah. Okay, ka community, I would like to say, ngave re khotsi anga ba ba tshiri khotsi anga ba tshi khou vha gudisa zwone, more especially ka ANC na community na ba family ra ri tovhedzela ri vhona nga ri nga vha tshithu tshithihi ra fhaṱa lushaka na family dza fhaṱana. That education is the best. That they must have their professions, because my father always say that you must go to school and get your professions.
Hi, my name is Foredzani Ramsetheri. I'm from Njerere, Chabarobetsi. My grandmother, Woma Cindy, it's an older sister to Brajo Namongane.
And now who are you? To
And then my father
yes.
was the cousins to Botaki and them.
Yes.
And then that means I'm the next generation after that.
Oh, yes.
I'm the third generation from there.
Oh, yes.
But Taki is the second generation, is a cousin to my dad.
To your dad.
But he doesn't call, he calls me Muzwara. He calls me cousin as well.
Cousin, yes.
Because I think there's an age difference. But at some point, when I went to Chawero, we shared a room when I was staying there. We shared a room with Taki. We go some places with Taki and everything else.
Yes.
So Mr. Nemongani, he was an instrumental part in the family.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a big bond in the family.
Okay.
Mr. Nemongani is a very generous man. He's well-spoken, soft-spoken. He's, I think, each and every family meeting, we've got a society called Putarushaka, which we have during Easter, and we also have it in December. He's one of those guys that will never miss those family meetings. So that's my early memories of him. Every time he would come there with his blue Peugeot. That's what I remember when we were still staying there. So that's how. And then in the early 90s, when I went to school in Joburg, I drove with him and Taki's mom to Joburg. It was the three of us. I was going to boarding school.
Yes.
My parents were left behind.
Yes.
He's a guy, he's a person who took me through to boarding school. He made me settle into boarding school. So that's one of the earliest fond memories that I will always have, that
Yes.
he'll always comes on Fridays. We'll have closed Fridays and open Fridays. Every second Fridays he will come,
Yes.
pick me up, and a friend of mine. So that friend was also like family as well. That's how Mr. Nemongani was.
Yes.
Vuro guy Joshua Aritwana, you know, we'll always, yeah. I was new in Joburg at that time, and he will always say, no, that's Koroni, you must focus on school. School is very important. You must behave well. Do not concentrate on other things. Taki, I think at that time he was at Wits University. Well, he just started in Wits University. Taku Hone, if you need something, you know, go Taki Douglas's son. You can always talk to Taki. He'll be able to assist and guide you. I think that's,
Yes.
yeah. There were many moments.
Yeah.
I think my granny, every time will have something.
Yes.
Call Nemongani, you should never leave him out. So
Yes.
I think that kind of wisdom that that was there in him. That's when there were issues that needed to be solved or there were events that needed to be attended, he was always there.
Yes.
He never misses those.
Oh,
If there were problems, he'll sit down, we'll talk those things, and he'll try to understand from what view are you coming from and so forth.
yes.
Yeah, and he was never harsh. That's one thing about him. I love him for that. He was never harsh. He'll talk to you, and he will not make you feel small
Yes.
at all. He will never make you feel small. The young ones that are coming behind, maybe that never had an opportunity to meet him,
Yes.
to meet Mr. Joe. To him, family was very, very important. Unity of family was, I think it was one of the strengths that he had that could bring family together.
Yes.
He valued family, I think, as well as we go into the next generations and the generations after us. I think we should be able to come together as family and take off where he left off. I think that's why one of the things when they formed that society, Putarushaka, just to bring all family together. But now the family is a bit, you see your cousins after a very long time after that. But you knew that back then, every Easter you were going to see everybody, every December you're going to see everybody.
Yes.
I think let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to the family foundations.
Yes.
He was very family orientated. I know every time when he came to Chavarowedzi,
Yes.
he'll come to his sister, my grandmother.
Yes.
Maybe he'll come with somebody else or something. 10 minutes, he'll leave them there. Wadotuwa Yabo Salume, the younger sister as well, and then he'll go. May grandfather rest in peace. May his spirit live in each and every one of us. And I think it will make his spirit rest even much easier and much better if we go. I mean, the cousins, we don't see each other, we don't. We never see each other. I think we should be able to go back and say, now and then we've got these family gatherings like what you used to do. I think that will be a good memory for us where we talk about these things and everything. We don't wait for moments like this too. Yeah, he was a family man. Firstly, maybe to my granny, who's very frail now, who could not be here. It's well. It came as a shock. His passing came as a shock, but I think it's God's will. It's everybody's passage and the journey. So we need to accept and celebrate the life that he lived, a colorful life that he lived, and be able to, from his life, draw inspiration. We should be able to find the person that he was and let that live within each and every single one of us. Thank you.
My name is Thomas Mamboro. You can call me Pastor Thomas Mamboro.
Pastor. Oh, you pastor.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. You
I'm
can even
I'm a
mix
pastor
up.
of Christ Family Center. Before I became a pastor of Christ Family Center, I was one of the pastors here at AFM,
Yes.
where the old man was fellowshipping.
Okay.
Yes. So by the call of God, and then we moved to establish a ministry.
Yes.
All right. Now, the reason why I'm here,
Yes.
we have come to attend a memorial service
Yes.
of, you can call him Brajo,
Yes.
Mr. Nemongani.
Yes.
Mr. Nemongani, he is the father to my brother or to my friend, Douglas Takalan.
Yes.
how we met with Takalani, it's amazing. We were at Lichowo Secondary School. You know, as you know, students, we were attending a Christian movement called Student Christian Movement. Then there, that's where I met Douglas, way back in 1987. You know, this day, you know, I was a bit discouraged by what was going on. So he came closer to me. He comforted me. Thereafter, from that time, I started to realize that this is the man. You know, I love his lifestyle, and he also loved my lifestyle. So that's how our relationship grew. You know, from that time, he used to come to my place. I used to go to his place. So we started to know each other and even the background. Takalani's father, basically, he was in Gauteng. He was at Chawelo. And Douglas was here, or Takalani was here. Though his primary, you know, education, he attended that side. So when he was on his secondary level, he came this side. So that's where we met. So I used to go to Chawelo. And then I used to go to Mletsani. When I was at Mletsani, I would communicate with Takalani. And then he will direct me. I will go to Chawelo. That's where I met his parents. He will come to Mletsani. Then he met my dad, as my dad was that side. My mom was here. So that's how our friendship and our relationship grew or started. Before I come to that, this is a funny story.
Share with us, please.
In 1995, when I was getting married, so Takalani as my best friend, he was a best man to my wedding. So we communicated, we agreed that he will be a best man. So he left, by that time he was at Johannesburg. He left Johannesburg on Friday. And then he arrived here Friday late. On Saturday morning, it was on the 25th of November, 1995. When he opened his bag, he realized that he only had a trouser. He forgot a jacket and a tie. You know, he had to move around, to look around. Who can help me with a jacket? So we got one of the pastor's associate pastor. And then he gave him the jacket as well as the robe of honor, the tie. That was a funny story. Yes. Now we can proceed. Okay, as like I indicated, I became one of the pastors here at AFM, or Amazing Grace, way back in 1994. And then in 2008, I moved to start my own ministry, or the ministry called Christ Family Center. By that time, Mr. Nemongan was still in Joburg. Then, the time he came back, Takalani phoned me. And he said, okay, before he came back, his mother came back. Takalani phoned me and said, my mom is coming back. So she will be staying there. Then I used to go and see her. I used to go and visit her. go and pray, offer prayer, pray for her. Because to me, she was a mother to me.
Yes.
And then thereafter, he phoned me and then he said, my dad is deciding to come back to Venda. So I did the same. Like I used to go to him, to see him.
Yes.
We'll sit down and talk.
Yes.
He was not that much talkative.
Yes.
Kind of a person.
Yes.
But he was a good listener.
Oh.
When you speak, when you talk to him, he will keep quiet and listen to you. Whenever he speaks, you could sense, wisdom in an old man. So he will talk about his background. He will talk about his political background, how he fought. Because even my father was a political. He was one of, Mr. Joe was at Shawelo.
Yes.
My dad was at Mletsani.
Oh.
They were all freedom fighters.
Yes. Yes.
Because my father, some other time when he was hunted by these white guys.
Yes.
He fled to Lesotho,
Yes.
and then he came back later.
Okay.
So these guys were comrades. All of them were comrades. So he will speak. He will speak just a little. He was not that much talkative,
Yes.
but when he speaks, you could hear,
Yes.
wisdom from an old man.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Brajo, even at his old age, he was still, close to the community. He couldn't sit down, even
Yes.
if he was not well.
Yes.
When a person is growing older, you cannot walk straight. He cannot faster like
Yes.
before. The other time there was a funeral there at Aradili, not far away from where he stays.
Yes.
We met there.
Yes.
We sat down together. We started. Whenever I will see him, I will have to go down to him, sit down, and talk. Because when he looked at me, Takalani was not always around. When he looked at me, he will remember his son, Takalani.
Yes.
So when I talk to him, it will like he is talking to his son, Takalani. And that made him to be happy.
Okay.
Yes. So even when he was old, but he could not lose his sense.
Yes.
He was still upright. Yeah, we have lost a great man. A man whom we cannot forget. A man whom whenever we think about him, there are a lot of things that comes to our mind. But I will say to the family, God knows. God's decision is the best. Yes, there are things that not everything that happens, we understand them. Some of the things we won't understand,
Yes.
but God's decision is the best. I will say, let us fix our eyes upon the Lord. Mm-hmm. Let us comfort ourselves by the word of God. Let us draw closer to God. The departure of the old man should not separate us from the love of God. Let us keep on loving God, sharing one another, encouraging one another. Mr. Joe was a disciplined person. It is, these days, people of his caliber are, honestly speaking, we are in a situation where there is a fight everywhere, especially these political issues. But Brother Joe, or Mr. Joe, he was a man of his words. He could stick to his belief. He was a comrade. He was a person when he walks, if he looks forward and he says, I'm going forward, he goes there. He was a man, he was not afraid. You know, not to be afraid, it is a sign to be a good leader. A good leader is not afraid of challenges. Like Mr. Joe, he was not afraid of challenges. So I will say, if young men could learn from Mr. Joe, man, we can, our community can go far.
We have a bright future.
Yes, we can go far. That's what I can say. This is, the day where we remember Mr. Joe. It is the day that we will never forget. Losing, oh yes, he left us. We have lost him. But it doesn't mean that we'll forget about what he did, about who he is or who he was to us. He will still be our father, though we will be missing him. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ndine vengani Sara mushumo tawanda Bojo ndi muna wa mkomona wanga robari 9 in the family. I'm the last born. Bojo baba mutu bane baba bachi cooperator kazi meetings za rushaka chimwe na chimwe che baba bachi vidziwa nga the other in-laws baba bachi generera ndi umbula nengori my father koti angabolo ndina 7 years. When I reached JC, by then it's Form 3. Ndobando vidziwa nursing afa Silom. There was nobody to care for me. I had other, I don't na bangwe bakomona bangabana babo. They botanga mtangano. Batanganyisa zichelede from Chawela to Silom. Urjuta nursing bakoleka chelede. Nda rengewa zuyenda the uniform na the watch, the wrist watch examiners uridiko no general nursing. The general nursing ndabana mwana wa mtukana, my first born, the son. Zwino ajena chikoro vets. I don't chahumbula mingwa urindu warini. Marababo ni wa mkansela. Apasa quantity surveying.
Yes.
Vets University as a quantity surveyor.
Yes.
Nana es bango boamba nefala nenda amba ndare ndobuya mushumoni ngori tinenda ndikuna zino ndikozura Silom kandi koshuma Silom ndichisuka ngiri makuwa ndare svar aba jeniseri womwana ngange ini kadzi quantity surveyor ngori ndi adibori ka government batu ba ubanyanga dzi surveyor asikune bachinjenisera mwana nga mushumo na bari ndido mujenisa ndichiri ndiye ndinenyi ndiye nenyi ngori o mutu tindi batu babononga batu basokoto general kazi politics ngamanga ndingasikone ndidotonga ndini nepotism inenda koita abongo ngitela chitu abongo yebaita chitu abala sibara wanga until mwana nga ndibuzana bamwe apedza 7 years asatu wana mushumo sikela achiwana ngamurawo mara tongozujambiri ngori ndodibo sori is a true man bangasite nepotism bajenisa mwana anga unori bana ma comrade abo bane bakoshuma izo zitu bakonyaga those post ba committed kamushumo waitizwa nepotism fafana na bamwe batu bamba bombuza ngoraro bara ndingasikone uri ndimujenise mushumoni azvine ndangazvikona izvo ariko apply na vanhu kamukomana wanga ndikengombori bozvibona uri mukara wavako vaisara zvino vopora nenda ndikori vuledzani vovularari navo the relationship irava ri nayo navo na vana na vadhuru ufanele udzura wokwata ngori nendichihumbura sivarai vava vachiri hezvi voda ngori tiri vanakaradzi afala chavalovezi baba ngasituwe basongoda nende dzura nefala next I'm sure it's some 5 kilometers baba ngasituwe basongoda kanne va pfa uri Sara ngori va ḓivha uri ndi last born yavho mufumakadzi wavho vha ḓa vha mbona kori relationship iyo ra vha ri nayo vha hone. Let's continue in Jesus name. Ndo vha ndi khou ri kha community dzoṱhe dze dza wana tshifhinga kana opportunity yo ṱangana na vho Joe ya vha fumbedza zwe vha fanela uri vha ite zwone a vha continue. He was a generous man. Zwithu zwi ḓo tshimbila zwavhuḓi afha shangoni arali vha nga zwi tevhedza. He was a true man, a loving person. Ndo vha ndi tshi ri nga vhe munya wavho tshi eḓela nga mulalo.
My name is Tendo Nemongani, grandson of the late Johannes Nemongani, son of Jennifer Hangwani Nemongani, and I'm from Shawela, and I used to live with my grandfather. My grandfather and I were close because I lived with him for practically my whole life. Yeah, I even know like the sound of his engine from his car. Like every time when I hear that engine on the street, I could be in the back side of the house, I could hear it, and I just know, okay, he's back. Me and him watched a lot of soccer together, But in the beginning, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because when I was still young, I used to watch cartoons, and he would just come up and be like, nah, I just want to watch soccer. And then I was like, nah, I didn't want to watch soccer. Then eventually I started watching it because he was always watching it. So yeah, I got that from him. And every milestone that almost every milestone that I've achieved, he's always been around. So me and him were very close. With my grandfather, I just think of like simple moments, nothing too crazy, which is him helping us go to school or coming back from school on a day if maybe our transport is not available. He'll take us to school. He always used to trust me with certain things like buying newspapers as well on a Sunday. Yeah, I just go and buy newspapers. Like him taking care of my sister, my mom, and myself, you know. I really appreciated that because like it was always just there for us. And yeah, I always used to buy this bread that he always used to buy was filled with raisins. I don't know, it's called raisin bread. Yeah, I remember that this one time I ate the whole loaf, and my mom was mad, and she was like, "Nah, Gugu's gonna shout at you and stuff." And then when he came back, he was like, "Nah, it's okay, you know, I like them, so if you like them, it's no problem, but just make sure you leave half. I know you're gonna eat a lot, but just make sure you leave half for me so I can have the other half." So yeah, small moments, those are the ones that I always remember. Like since I was younger, I always used to like talk about my grandfather to other people, like, my grandfather, he has this personality trait that he has that I consciously always try to follow, like not speaking when not spoken to, in terms of not speaking when there's no reason for you not to speak, you know, because I've seen that is very important. Over the years, I've seen from my experiences that just always talking with no reason and with no purpose leads to problems, or just people not having enough respect for you because you're just always speaking. So I learned that just being yourself and just being quiet is okay, but when you speak, at least speak with some conviction. For you, I wish, for the younger generations, I wish that you actually like spend time with him, you know, to see the difference between a normal man and a different man, a man that he was, you know. He was very disciplined, he was very straightforward, he knew what he wanted and everything like that. So like, I just like for you to know what an image of a real man looks like, since we're in a place where that is kind of going away. So yeah, just a real man, a real father figure, yes. Gugu, he was always there for us. Urutusa Gugu, urutusa abachero, mara just remember uri mutu asuka kene age ona achieve that many things is rare, you know. Many people don't make it, and like for us to have an example of that, we should be happy that we have that example, because not a lot of people have that example though. Yeah.
Hello, sinalanga ndifi Doris Davana. The neighbor kabo Johannes Nemaungani. But Johannes Nemaungani was house number 2, and then I should house number 3. So, and then the neighbor was a friend, ya Jennifer. Best friend, ya Jennifer Nataki. We grew up together, me, Jennifer, and Taki.
Okay.
Pastor TK. To me, Comrade Joe is like my father. Because even if, when I start to know Joburg, I know Chiawero, Duniabo, Bonemaungani. Ndichi diva Joburg, do diva hanenge Chiawero Duniabo. Zi December, ababana tendo na wangabo aluwa pandanga. And then Bonemaungani, banjaba mfarasa mwana wabo. Because ndi friend yabana babo. Apa venda, ndichiko aluwa. Do aluwa, ndichi langa hankeni, ane Maungani. And then bo John Maungani, bafuna mutu muwe na muwe. So, zingo zinenda ngani buzazo nindi hizi. The important thing to me, lingwe duba, ndi hankeni Chiawero. When I was young, he asked me, Doris, nina society? That atina society. Mary, no, nifana join a society because you have mother. How can you bury your mother if you didn't have society when she passed away? So I told him that I don't have money. Joining fee was 400 rand. And then on Sunday, but when I ne society, bancha 400 rand. Jennifer, she's a witness. Bancha 400 rand, banjoinera society, but the rest did the battle and chapanda. And that society helped me so much because they buried my mother. So, and then I used to go, I'm a singer. I'm singing reggae music.
Yes.
Yeah, my name of music is Jalid. Yes. So I used to go the world. Yes. I used to go to Satma Award. When I go there, I arrive here to Chiawero. In the morning, he take me to the airport. Always if I go, I'm going to fly. So I know musindi chitua panovenda ndi adibarandu kwa Chiawero. Ndichishika Chiawero ba mukala bojo badoli cha mitini yabo. In the morning badonjia bangisa airport. Ufana na mwana wabo. Ba chimpara sa mwana wabo. Ne. Yeah. So he loves me so much. Yeah. Because family yanga ya neighbor itonga sa family the friend and family, ne? So ndi zvinenda ngamba ka mma bo Mrs. Nemaungani. Mama aritanganeze. Baba bo Nemaungani. Ndo ndichibabizori baba. I called him Baba every day. Baba. No. So bo Nemaungani baba sa ambesi ngamanda, but if wozula nabo bafana baba chikupa milayo. Bachikubuza zori zwithu zwavhuḓi ndi hezwi. Bafuna wana wa education. Bafuna education ngamanda. Bana babo bofunzeya, padulu babo bofunzeya. Yeah. So bavuzula bako teacher. He was a teacher. Yeah. So zvinenda ngamba zvone ndi zvauri bo ita ndima yavo. Bo ita mushumo wavo ka community. I know bo ita mushumo wavo Chiawero. But baba ita mushumo wavo ba save na hane pa ka community ya pano chimwe na chimwe cha ka community baba bachiko chijoina. And people they respect him because zvineva amba zvone ba amba zvofata fhedzi a vha funi u divide vhathu so vho ita ndima yavho vho ita mushumo wavho muṅwe na muṅwe kha vhofholowe muyani ri vha vhofholole vha yo awela nga mulalo and then na vhana vhavho kha vha ṱanganedze zwo iteaho zwi amba uri vhone vhane vho swika he vha 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 kha pain and then pain ya hone vha vha si tsha kona uri vha nga i ṱanganedza so vha vha khou fanela uri vha yo resta ngauri muṅwe na muṅwe u ḓo fhedzisela o yo resta ya uri kha pain but ri khou fanela uri ri zwi ṱanganedze ya Mr Joe vho ri gudisa uri muthu wa ḓi imela ene muṋe so na vhuḓipfari havhuḓi ndo learna zwithu zwinzhi from him vhuḓipfari arali u tshi khou nyaga u ita u tsini na vho Joe ne a u koni u ita zwithu zwa vhuḓabaḓaba because u ḓo shona you will become ashamed uri vha pfa uri ṱhamusi fight ndo fighter na muṅwe muthu vha ḓo ri mini because vha khou khalusa vha khou builder so u tshi nyaga u ita zwithu zwo vhifhaho u vha u tshi khou shona uri nda ita zwithu zwo vhifhaho and then baba vha zwi pfa vha ḓo ri mini so I became a good girl.
Hi, my name is Wanga Nemaungani. I stay in Chiawero, where my grandfather used to stay, and I am the granddaughter of the late Joe Nemaungani. So I'm a bit of a crybaby. I'm very much a crybaby, and I grew up without a father, but I can never say I never had that father figure in my life because he played that role till the end, and he played it so right. So with me and my grandfather, I would say it was like a father-daughter relationship instead of a grandfather and a granddaughter relationship. Like, he would reprimand me the same way he would reprimand his daughter. He'd baby me. I remember every time he'd come back from here, from Limpopo to Chiawero, I knew I wouldn't have to do my chores at all because he would do them all for me, or he would say somebody else must do them because I'm busy with school.
Yes.
So he cared for me that much, and I appreciated that a lot. So with me, what happened with my grandfather is that when he came home, he didn't come home as a comrade. At home, he was Gugu. That's how we knew him. Outside, other people knew him as comrade, but I never knew him as that because when he came back home to be a father or a grandfather, and that was it. And the thing I have with the politics, because I don't know much about it or what he was doing, but the part of that affected my life really much was the time they burnt the house, which I was in at the time, and that was a very traumatic time in our lives, but he was there for us. The reason why they burnt the house, it had something to do with Eskom, not him. It had something to do with him signing a form with Eskom, but I'm not sure what exactly happened. And then after the incident, it was a very traumatic incident, and he was there to explain everything and why it happened. I did see it in his eyes. He was very sorry. He was so sorry about it because nobody wants to put their grandkids or their children in such a situation that is so traumatic. So I would see it in his eyes. Would he like, yeah, he's very sorry about that entire traumatic experience, but we bounced back because he's always there for us. Discipline. My grandfather was a disciplined man, and I think I got that from him as well. Even in terms of education, like when I'm at school, I know how to discipline myself because he taught me that. If it's time to study, I will most definitely study and I will finish studying. And another thing with my granddad is he was so passionate about education. Like, if you don't go to school, then don't even bother talking to him. If you don't update him on your schoolwork, your results. I remember every time I'd be excited to show him my report or just to study so that I get good results. I wouldn't study to get good results so I could pass, but I'd study to get good results to impress him. Because every time I'd show him my report, he would be like so enthusiastic about it as if we're studying together. And he's like, yo, you're doing good, you're doing good. And that would encourage me to do even better. So his encouragement, especially when it comes to school, was major. He always encourages everyone to get an education and have something. He wants you to have something, like whether you're working or you're going to school. He wants you to see what you're reaping, your benefits. If you're working, he wants to see what you're working for. If you're going to school, he wants to see those good results. So, okay, to the young ones, Gugu was a man of love. Gugu taught me a lot of love. That man had a lot of love. Whether it was family, it was not family, people from outside. You love your neighbor the way you love yourself, and he stuck by that. Well, like he didn't care where you come from, your background, who you with, but he will always love you because you're human. So I just want to say that, take that from him. Love everyone, love especially your family, love the next person to you. Just keep on loving no matter what happens, because love keeps us alive. So Gugu, to my grandmom, all I want to say is that stay strong. Stay strong. It's tough. We all lost, but I know she's going to be fine because she's as strong as he was. And to the rest of the family, Gugu took care of us. Gugu took care of us. He ran his race. His journey was long. He was very old, but he looked 60, but he was old. And all I want to say is that just appreciate the fact that we could have a granddad that loved us so much. He loved us to the universe and back. And I just want to say we should appreciate that and carry on his legacy, because I feel like the pressure is on now. The pressure is on to live up to your surname. You can't just go outside and say you are Nemongani. You need to show it through your actions as well. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.